All right, thank you for listening for our project. My name is Timothy Truster, a associate professor in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering. We're working on the topic of physics-based and machine learning models for goat tibia fracture. And I'm collaborating with Dr. Pierre-Yves Mulon and David Anderson in the College of Veterinary Medicine. So this motivation for our computational modeling of the goat tibia is for the topic of orthopedic research. For example, understanding of fractures and biomedical implants. It's an important topic for human health and improving quality of life and such. However, the traditional medical R&D paths take several years. They involve studies in animal models from ex vivo and in vivo testing and pilot studies before you can get into clinical trials and such. So it could be several years. So there can be some benefits from using physics-based finite element computer models combining with some faster machine learning surrogate models to provide a virtual laboratory for targeting the type of research and development done. In this case, we're looking at the topic of fracture. So the objectives of this seed grant is to test a hypothesis related to the importance of bone mineral density spatial distribution throughout the bone structure and how it affects the fracture toughness of the goat tibia bones. And we'll be testing this by developing and combining these two types of modeling approaches to assess in particular the problem of the impact of a unicortical defect placed within the goat tibia bone. And we'll be using the machine learn model as a virtual laboratory to optimize the location of this defect to maximize the strength of the bone and to shorten the recovery after the placement of the defect, with the long-term interest of using these computational tools to help with estimating the effect of risk factors and to modify surgical approaches. So the approach we have involves 3 steps, combinations of experimental and modeling. The first is to characterize the goat bones using computed tomography to obtain for us the bone mineral density and the shape of the bone. And then you perform compression or torsion testings to get its mechanical response. The information is then inputted to calibrate the physics-based phase field fracture model in particular, which involves, again, placing the density spatially distributed within the bone to correlate to other mechanical properties. And we would calibrate the simulation output from this model for the fracture load and the load displacement curve to match the undefected bone specimens, and then validate the code using the defected bone specimens to see if we can predict those. And then the third phase is to use the physics-based model to run more simulations and provide a training library for a surrogate model that's a low-fidelity model that runs faster and is able to perform iterations to optimize where the defect should be placed in order to have peak strength. And then with the outcome of that optimization, we perform a validation experimentally with that defect placed and see how well the computational models have done at predicting physical reality. So the significance of this output is in particular the goat tibia and femur system is rather related to the human skeleton, so it serves as a good animal model and such. And the benefits of having these combined computational approaches can help to reduce the number of animal specimens needed to overall make the process more efficient and help with the pursuing novel science. And the understanding gained from this particular study on the bone responses to help improve practices for bone healing, to know how long it may take before the fracture might heal, or what different sizes could different defect sizes can have impacts on, with the future vision of looking at the overall system and studying osteoporosis via artificially reducing bone density, and then using that both in computational and finally within animal models to observe the effects of augmentation and repair strategies. So thank you for your interest, and we welcome any questions you have on the topic.